Oh yeah. Sharing the link.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're live. Right. Let's see. Oh, you do have 11 people watching already. Right. Hi guys.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah. I see Anson, Keke, and Gabrielle. Welcome to join our live stream. And Rosa's here too. Hi. And Chaum He. Right, I'm trying to pronounce everybody's names. All right. Hi Hank. Yeah. We're chatting a little too happily, so we're a little late for the live stream, guys. Sorry for that. Yeah. Okay, we have more than 80 with us. Good evening, everybody, ladies and
Nice.
gentlemen. Yeah, welcome to the live stream where we're gonna talk about business English today. So here I have Dino with me. Yeah, so feel free to just write down any comments or questions you might have about business English. We're going to talk about how difficult should it be or can it be, and what is business English. And I have prepared two videos that I find especially interesting. Right, so give me a sec. All right, oh, I just got a call. Okay, I'm back. All right, Zhang Yue, hi. Chen King, hello, Stella. Hi, everybody. Okay, yeah. And also, Dino is starting a new business English course just in 2 weeks here at Taiwan How. So feel free to take a look. I think it's already in the comments. There's a link. So feel free to check it out. Yeah. And before we begin, as we are approaching 100, Dino, would you like to say hi to everybody? To some of those
Yeah,
who
absolutely.
are maybe meeting you for the first time online.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, guys. Welcome to our live event. Good evening, or good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I noticed that, yeah, students come from all over the world and not just Taiwan. So, yeah, welcome, guys. My name is Dino. I'm from Ireland. For those of you that don't know me, I lived in Taiwan for almost 6 years until quite recently last year when I moved to the US. So I'm now living on the East Coast in Pennsylvania. So that's where I do a lot of my work, teaching online, and very excited for another round of this Taiwan How Business class. So yeah,
Awesome.
welcome. Feel free to ask any questions, and yeah, if you have any questions, concerns, issues, drop them in the comments, and yeah, we'll get to them this evening.
Yeah. Dino is a professional English coach and teacher and also a businessman. So, who else can be a better candidate to teach us business English than a businessman himself, right? And his class has been very popular here at Taiwan How, so feel free to join his new one starting in 2 weeks. It's happening every Saturday or Sunday? Sunday.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
Every Saturday, every Saturday.
Saturday. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Saturday, Taiwan time, right? Cool.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct. Yeah.
right. So feel free to join us. Right. And today I have prepared two videos that Dean probably
Oh,
hasn't had the
yes.
time to take a look at. Yeah, but we can talk about them together. Right. And do I
Sure.
see any questions? Okay.
I'm
Yeah. So
also
feel free
shuffling
to
this.
leave a comment if you do have a issue or if you have any questions you would like to have or anything you'd like to know about business English. Yeah, so let's start from this one first and then the next one, right? So the two videos are from I would say TikToker or the content creator I admire, whose name is Laura. So she's doing a huge series about office or workplace English, right? So this one is about should we have the cameras on or off for a meeting, and next for the next part we'll move on to talk about what's professional to say and what's not for business, right? Because they'll be actually covered in your class in business
Yeah,
English communication, right? So let's,
absolutely.
yeah, take a look at the video and we can talk about our thoughts. Like, I mean, for me personally, I always keep my, not always, but for my courses, I would turn my camera on. Yeah, but it actually does depend. Sometimes I would keep my camera off when everybody's doing that. Yeah, so let's talk about that as now online meetings are so common, right? So,
Haven't turned your camera on yet. If you could do that, then we can get started. Oh, no, thank you. Well, I have my camera on, so let's go ahead and get yours on too.
But respectfully, my camera will remain off.
Well, we can't proceed unless you put your camera on.
The productivity of this meeting is not dependent on whether or not you can see me. Let's go ahead and get started.
Or I see you haven't turned your camera on.
right.
Oh, it's classic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's classic. So what do you think? I mean, do you always have your camera on
Yeah. I think
for
generally speaking, for me,
online
I would
meetings?
always keep it on for online meetings, and for all of my classes, I keep my camera on. I think it's just it just shows a sense of respect, and then also like professionalism to have the camera on.
Mm,
No matter how good or bad we're feeling. However, sometimes I have joined a meeting where when I've joined it already, everyone has their camera off, and I'm not actually leading that meeting. So
mm,
I'll initially keep the camera on, and then I'll maybe just pop the question to the chair or the leader of the meeting and say, are we having cameras on today, or are we as cameras off also fine? And then I'll just go with whatever they say, if they're the leader of the meeting.
mm.
Yeah.
That's a nice gesture to show respect and how much you value that meeting or how much you respect that meeting because in the
Yeah.
beginning you would like to have a friendly gesture to say, "Hey, I'm here, I'm ready." Because I think
Right.
when your camera is on, it means that you have your attention here. You're not
Yes,
doing
it's
something
like,
else, right? So that's respect for the people who are talking to you online, right? But of course, like you said, sometimes it's for some meetings we're just listening in, we're not leading the meeting, right? So that, that
yeah,
that's fine sometimes to have our camera off. Yeah, but this one's
yeah,
obviously comedy though. This one.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I think it just also depends on like your position within the meeting, and then like your role within the meeting.
Yeah.
Like, are you the leading the meeting? Are you chairing it, or
Hmm.
are you just listening in? And if you're listening in, then that's absolutely fine. You may have, yeah, just other things to do, but you just want to listen in as support for the meeting. You don't really have any main action points. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, and also when I'm having my bad hair day, I would have my camera off. Yeah, because I don't want to
You
disturb
never have a
everybody.
bad hair day, mate.
No. Well, here Laura said respectfully. I think this is a good usage. Yeah.
Yeah,
So and this is what I do. I sometimes, pause the video and talk about some grammar point or some expressions with my
yeah,
students. Yeah, I guess you would do the
sure.
same in your class too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the class and in the course, what we do is I go through some, videos, and also real life content and examples through case studies, such as companies like Starbucks and influential leaders. We look at some of their interviews, and we pause it and go into some group work interaction and breakout room stuff where we have a look at what they've said, what it means, and how we can use that in our daily lives, whether it's in our
Mm.
work or casual, more informal setting. So that's kind of what we do. I like that she says respectfully, because here it's a great way to say, like, actually I disagree. It's kind of like starting the tone to
Yeah,
say I'm disagreeing with you on this, but it's
yeah,
it's a very formal, and yeah, it's direct without being too direct, without
yeah,
being too brash or harsh or rude, right?
yeah. And it sounds more polite than just say actually, right? But she actually meant actually, right? So
Yeah,
here instead she said respectfully. It means that I am, insisting. I do insist that I will have my camera off, right? So
exactly,
she's using
exactly.
professional terms here like respectfully and also remain. to show that
Yes.
the state or how the camera is going to be. It's going to be off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost, yeah, it's almost like there's no comeback to what she said. Like there's no kind of way to debate this point, like she said, respectfully. And I like that instead of saying, because actually, if we say actually, sometimes it can come across as rude, and then that can start an argument, and people may get the wrong impression. They might think, oh, does this person have an attitude, or why are they being difficult? Whereas respectfully, it remains formal and professional as well.
Yeah. With her attitude and her look though. I mean, she's having an I win face on her, and she's saying respectfully I will have my camera off. Yeah. So here is the other side trying to urge her to turn on her camera, right? So she said we can't proceed. Proceed is a business speak, I would say. Proceed, sometimes we would say, oh, you may proceed, or let's proceed. It means like a very formal way to say begin or continue, right? So we can continue
exactly.
our discussion. Yeah.
Right.
And this one is classic too.
Is not dependent.
Yeah, she's polling productivity to be her argument, because at work people do care about productivity. So when anyone's mentioning productivity, they should be on the right side. Who's boosting productivity, they should be correct and they should be right, because the productivity is not dependent on whether or not you can see me. Well, she does have a point. She does have a point.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. Like she's using it as the key term and as like the anchor for her arguments, right? Like you say,
I like that
in
anchor for her
productivity.
argument. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's using a great one, like dependent on something is not dependent on something. Yeah. But obviously the other lady, it's not entirely about productivity. It's about like what we just discussed, respect. And it's a feeling. How would you describe that? It's just like a sense of being together or being equal, even sometimes, right? When one can see another while another cannot see you, it's like
Yeah.
not a equal feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like a meet me in the middle. It's like a
Maybe
compromise.
in the
And it's
middle.
also a sense of,
Yeah.
it's also, it's not really showing or exhibiting a level of trust that we as people like. We're like, oh, why? What's the reason instinctively we want to know what's the reason why this person is not having their camera on. And I feel like maybe I can't trust this person. And for business and negotiation and, trying to improve those business relationships, it's important to have that level of trust 100%. And
Yeah.
I think this kind of leaves things a little bit
I like that.
open and kind of distant.
Yeah, I'm taking notes. I like that. Yeah, it's for everybody. Feel free to take
Mm,
notes, everybody. Like, meet me in the middle, and also a level of trust. I think they're great vocab to learn, words to use. Like, meet me in the middle, especially when people are having a negotiation. We sometimes need to, how about let's have a meet me in the middle, or can we meet in the middle, right? It means that maybe, well, in a way, you can say that people are having compromises or are making a compromise. Yeah, but it's a
yeah,
even better way to say, how about that we meet in the middle, right? It sounds
yeah,
better than, oh, I would have to, have a compromise and you would have to sacrifice something. Yeah, so it sounds
yeah,
way better to say meet each other in the middle. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like both people are feeling a little bit of discomfort and pain to kind of come together.
Yeah. Cool. Let's move on to another one. Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that video. It's great.
It's great. Yeah. So let's watch another Laura video. And for this one, it's like I mentioned, the How Do You Professionally Say series. Right. And she's doing this series with her work bestie as a guy. And they usually, Laura would usually just throw a very challenging situation or scenario to her work bestie. And her work bestie would always have a good answer. And there are, of course, a lot of nuance that we can talk about for business. Yeah, because for me, what's business English is actually, I would say, English, everyday English with some corporate speak and some professionalism in it. Yeah, so I would say the foundation is still everyday English, but we do need to have a business sense, and also we need to have empathy so we can communicate better, right? So how
Yeah.
do you professionally say sometimes consists of some very colloquial usage, but sometimes there will be some corporate speak. Yeah, so
Yeah.
let's take a look. For example, this one. That sounds like a horrible idea. Like this one's a very straightforward and even blunt statement. But how do you
Yes.
say that? We do sometimes need to say that to people, right?
Are we confident that this is the best solution, or are we still exploring alternatives?
Okay. Yeah. Um, what's your favorite word here for the work besties answer?
I like the last part, like exploring alternatives. I think
Same
this can be
here.
used in a
Same here.
multitude of, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So,
Exploring
yeah,
alternative. That's a great
yeah,
location. Yeah, it means
yeah,
that you're trying
definitely.
different things, or do we still have other options open, right?
Yeah,
So exploring,
absolutely.
we're trying to find some other ways to do things. So instead of
Yeah,
pointing things out, saying that, oh, they are horrible, we're asking, do we have some other choices? Are we still
yeah,
exploring alternatives? Yeah,
yeah.
I like that. Yeah, and also he starts the sentence with, "Are we confident? Are we confident?"
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
better than "Are you sure?" It sounds way
right.
better than
Yeah,
"Sure." It's like, "Are we confident?" So inclusive language, right?
yeah.
Are we
I think
confident?
that's very important. We try and take away we kind of keep it more objective rather than subjective, right? We're trying to make it a little bit more neutral and general rather than pointing the finger. And then with the exploring alternatives, it can be used in other situations and other areas where, we're maybe not really too sure about this idea, but we are, exploring, we're looking for other options. It's
Mm,
really, really good.
yeah. How would you put it differently? Like that sounds like a horrible idea. Yeah. For me, I would
Mm,
probably say, do we have some other alternatives that we can look at? Yeah, that would
mhm.
be my version. Yeah, what would be?
Yeah, I think I would probably, yeah, I think I'd probably say something like, "Oh, I appreciate your input. However, have you considered A, B, and C, or have you considered this?" If you feel like you want to suggest your option or your
Mm,
opinion, you could say, "I really appreciate that input," or you could also say something like, "I don't disagree. However, have we considered this, or have you thought about, this option?"
yeah,
And I
that,
think it's important to
that's a
really take away the
consultant.
kind of,
Yeah, like I don't
yeah.
disagree. Yeah, yeah. Yet still,
Yeah.
we can look at some other. Like, have you considered? I like that. I like your approach of saying that. Yeah, like have
Yeah,
you considered or have we considered? Yeah, sometimes it's nice to
yeah, it's
use
even
the
better.
inclusive language. Yeah, that's nice. Let's
Yeah,
continue.
I already told you this.
Okay. Yeah. And for the previous one, you said, I appreciate your input. I like that too. Like to start with a compliment, to recognize
yeah,
the other, work colleagues' efforts and their input, right? So before
yeah,
jumping right into criticism, right? Or pointing out some
absolutely.
potential issues. I like that. So I appreciate something, right? And for
Yeah,
this one, I already told you this. Before we see Work Bestie's version, I would like to try. Maybe I would say for our last discussion, we have covered this
mm,
issue or this topic. Yeah, so
yeah.
it's
I
time
would, I
for
would
you.
say yeah.
Yeah.
I would say something like, as mentioned previously, we
Mm,
blah 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 blah. So something like mentioned previously,
so it's a
or yeah,
fact.
discussed previously. Yeah,
Yeah. So gently, you let people know that, oh, we actually have talked about this, right? So instead of
right.
saying, I already told you this, that's really blunt. Yeah, it's like saying, like, do you have any issues with your memory? So that's really not a very polite way to say things. Not nice.
Yes.
So let's see the work bestie version.
As indicated prior.
Can you
Oh, okay. Indicated. That's really formal. Yeah.
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 It's quite formal. I think like yeah, it's a very, very formal setting. And I think that would be used in say maybe like a board
Written.
meeting, conference room,
Yeah.
something maybe like even like in legal terms or a legal setting.
Yeah. Does that come off like written language in your view? To me, it looks like it's in a very formal paper or maybe email correspondence, like as
Yeah.
indicated prior. Would people
Yeah.
say that? Probably when communicating in a very formal style.
I think it would only be in a more higher formal setting, such as like a courthouse, a judge or solicitor's office, or even say
Mm,
maybe like government officials would
yeah.
use this term. And it's also very
Legalese.
commonly seen legalese, it's also very commonly used in on paper, in writing. Whereas if we translate that into speech, I think our previous options that we had said would probably be
Yeah.
much more sufficient.
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah. Right. And this one, can you answer all of the questions I ask and not just pick and choose one? So please don't answer selectively, okay?
answer all of the
Yes.
questions I asked and not just pick and choose one?
Are you able to provide some clarity around the other questions previously asked?
Provide some clarity. That's really business.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's also we can see this as well in emails. It's also commonly used in written setting where it's an email or a letter. So providing clarity,
Hmm.
another meaning would be like, can you just answer the question? And so I
Yeah.
think this is some of the challenges that we have when writing emails, business emails. It's like there's always another meaning to what we see written.
Hmm. Yeah. Provide some clarity. Okay. Yeah. I'm not sure if this is the most gentle or polite way to say things, but in business we are not always looking for gentle or polite.
Yeah,
Yeah, sometimes we do need to clarify things. And I guess that's
yeah,
when people have been avoiding questions for some time. You would probably say,
yeah,
we need you, we might need you to provide some clarity for now as we're discussing
yeah.
these very important issues, right? So,
I agree. I think there's nothing wrong with being a little bit direct if the
mm,
person is, not answering the question or hasn't really provided that clarity or is avoiding the questions. I think it's absolutely fine, and there's nothing wrong
mm,
with being a little bit direct to understand the situation, right? Because if we leave a meeting and we don't really fully comprehend what we're supposed to do, it's just gonna create mistakes and problems further on down the line.
yeah, yeah. Provide some clarity around the other questions previously asked. Well, yeah, so it means that, they are not answering the question previously asked.
Yeah.
All right.
I think also as well, like with the kind of the theme of the video, we notice that like it's becoming more and more direct as
Yeah.
each clip goes on, right? So I think
Yeah.
it's also playing to the comedic style of the video.
Yeah.
Flowers and moisture.
Okay. So that's, their inner joke. Yeah, because
Yeah,
Laura
our
always like
slogan
to
or
say
our
like
catchphrase.
moist, like like most or something like that. Like she usually just say like moist. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laura, please.
Yeah. So that was that. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So
Very good, very interesting. Do we have any questions or comments from you guys? Any
I'm checking.
questions there?
Okay. 建智 ask, why not start with could you? Could you please? Could you please?
Mhm.
Because Laura or her work bestie use are you able to, right? Are you able to? I would say, like Dino and I previously just discussed, we would say like could you please or would you please would sound nice and polite, but we're not always looking for nice and polite in business. Sometimes we want to show that this is really urgent and important. We don't want to be too nice. When you're playing too nice with people, sometimes people would take you for granted, and take your
Yes.
communication for granted. That's why, yeah. But could you and would
Yeah.
you is of course polite. I mean, when you're writing
Yeah,
to
both
maybe your
acceptable.
supervisor or your client or people you're contacting for the first time, or maybe it's a school, I don't know, scholar or someone you respect, you would say, could you and would you? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, both very acceptable options to use. So yeah, very good.
Cool. Do we have any other questions? Feel free to leave a comment. Rosa said passive assertive. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So how would you explain or teach passive assertive to someone who don't understand, someone who doesn't understand?
Yeah, I think it also goes back to having the confidence to use the language that we have learned. And sometimes we are a little bit shy or reserved to use that language that we've learned in a correct way. So passive assertive would be um, basically not being, like you said, taken for granted, but not being taken for granted, but also being a little bit more direct with your questions and feedback as well. And I think a lot of time is wasted these days with people kind of, not really answering questions, wasting each other's time. So it does call sometimes for those hard questions to be asked. Are you able to provide clarity? Could you provide clarity on the previous questions that we have discussed? And sometimes it just does take those passive assertive, just that little bit more direct questioning to really save some time in the end, because time is precious. We don't really want to keep wasting it in
I
meetings.
love that.
So
Love
yeah,
that.
I would. Yeah,
Yeah. And what's commonly used, maybe even more commonly used, would be passive aggressive, right? So it's quite a
yeah,
similar idea, except that, it's both passive, you're not proactively showing or doing things that, oh, this is my attitude, this is what I want. You're doing it in a reserved or responsive or maybe passive way. It's upon
Mhm.
upon request or when it happens, right? But for
Right.
aggressive, you're quite harsh, and for assertive, you're very sure what you want to communicate to people, right? So that's another
Yeah,
common phrase, like passive aggressive or passive assertive. I think the emphasis is on the second word, assertive,
correct.
yeah, and also
Yeah,
aggressive, yeah. So that's a good one.
yeah,
That's a
definitely.
good one. Thanks, guys.
Great question.
Yeah. New term learned. Thanks for the explanation. Passive assertive. All right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's important to know. We don't obviously need to use that, but it's nice to know and to have some thoughts about it. Yeah, I would say that's, sometimes for business, I don't know, Dino, for me, it's sometimes a strategy or some ideas. How should I communicate to this person? In what way? And sometimes we would just think of, hey, I have read or I've heard somewhere that that's how people communicate, and maybe I can use that now. Yeah, so I guess that's
Yeah.
when the resources that we're teaching or sharing with the students would be useful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the things that I also teach in this course is that while we do have a lot of formal terms, we also have informal terms. So it allows students to be able to pick and choose how they can respond and how they can interact and communicate in different business settings, because it's not always going to be formal, right? We have to be able to adapt based on the situation. And so I think when we talk about business English, it can be a little bit confusing and off-putting
Yeah.
because students we may not really fully understand, well, what exactly does it mean, right? But based on an average day for someone working in an office, depending on their job position, they may have different meetings, different interactions with all different kinds of people. And so knowing how to communicate and interact is very, very crucial. So I think that's something that we like to focus on in the course.
Yeah. So we have another question from Jianzhi. Jianzhi said, I like to use hedging words in conversation. Like, so in business English, we have to be direct instead of using hedging words to mitigate assertiveness. I would say it depends. Like what you just said, in different business settings, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, I think it just depends on the kind of the business setting, who you're talking to, and then also like knowing your audience is key. So knowing the other person that you are speaking with, I think it's important to kind of tailor your questions, tailor your communication to suit that person. And it also depends on what you hope to get. Like, what's the purpose of the conversation, right? Is it a meeting? Is it a negotiation? Is it just a check-in meeting? So it really just depends on the style or the type of meeting. So yeah, the hedging words, it really just depends on the situation. Yeah. So, but the hedging words are good to, we're kind of like to reduce maybe some seriousness or intensity of uh of the situation. It's kind of like starting off being a little bit more broad and vague, and then trying to get to the finer details. So I think for hedging words, they're absolutely fine, especially for say small talk and networking at the beginning. But if it's a more serious meeting, more formal, we kind of want to get to the point pretty quickly.
Yeah, yeah, I do agree. Yeah. Would you mind sharing the course breakdown with everybody? Because I think,
Yeah.
yeah, it's about time to wrap up, and Dino has prepared one slide to share with everybody about what his course is about. It's starting in 2 weeks, so if you're interested, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of you may or may not know, but the course will be in total of 8 weeks. Each class is 2.5 hours. And some of the topics that we have, we range from starting off with small talk, networking, and socializing. And we go through a range of topics such as business trips, the future of money, workplace change. So a lot of us now are seeing this huge change in the workplace and also in our own personal productivity and work goals. Like a lot of people now prefer to work from home, or maybe they like to have this more hybrid working schedule where they work 2 or 3 days in the office or 2 or 3 days at home. So we'll focus as well on some of the workplace changes, how that's affecting people. And I always encourage students to share their thoughts and express themselves in this course. And so one of the other key things is that through this course, you will improve your confidence as well. So you will be given a chance to express yourself. We also will have some group interaction or breakout rooms where I give you maybe say like an article, or we watch a video together and we have to answer some questions and really kind of get to understand like what is the video talking about? What is the main message? And so in addition, I provide the tools and strategies then that you can use in your daily life so that you can pick those from your kind of your little toolbox of English terms and phrases to suit the person that you are interacting or communicating with. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much it for the course. And in addition, we do have those like business meetings and really kind of just understanding like what does it mean when this person says this, and focusing as well on some real world case studies from some of the big companies, what they do well, and maybe some areas that they could improve on. So if that sounds something that you would be interested in, the course is starting in 2 weeks' time on Saturday. And yeah, feel free to click the link. I know myself and Howard will be sharing some links over the coming days, so you can sign up and you can check out Taiwan How's website for more information.
Exactly.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's great. I like the idea of empowering your toolbox. It's time to upgrade your toolbox, guys. Because English is a language that's ever evolving, and business English as well. It's evolving more than ever now with the digital technology available almost in everybody's hands. So I would say it's nice to sharpen your business English skills with Dino, and also with all these relevant topics, including networking, business travel, money, work, and also CSR. I bet some of you still don't know what it is. That's corporate social responsibility, a very timely topic and relevant issue for businesses around the world, and marketing and business meetings. Right. So I'm sure you're going to benefit a lot from this course. So just feel free, and we're waiting for you to join us. All right. Yeah. So it's great. So, yeah. So thank you guys. Thank you for joining us today. That's a wrap. And I hope you have a wonderful week, everybody. And we can't wait for you to join us next time for a live stream or for you to join Dino's class. All right. So I wish everybody a wonderful week, and we'll see you guys next time. All right. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Hope to see you in the class. 谢谢。